Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into something really significant unfolding in global urban security.
Yeah, we're talking about the aftermath of Brazil's deadliest police operation on record in Rio de Janeiro. The fallout is incredibly complex.
Exactly. We've got a solid set of sources here detailing the tensions, the different investigations kicking off, and this really divided public response.
Quite a picture.
Our mission really is to try and pull out the core issues, the gaps in what we know, and the unique political factors that seem to be, well, blocking any quick reform.
Despite the scale of what happened.
Right. And the scale is just staggering. We're looking at estimates between 119 and 132 deaths.
Which, as sources confirm, is the highest ever recorded from a police operation in Brazil. History-making in the worst way.
And there's that visual detail, too, from aerial photos of bodies lined up along a street. It's stark.
It really is horrific, and it sets the scene perfectly for what we're seeing now. A lot of volatility, but probably not much fast reform.
Why not fast reform, though, with that kind of pressure?
Well, that's the crux of it. You have intense pressure from rights groups, which you'd absolutely expect. But it's running headfirst into this really divided public and political reaction.
Two competing stories.
Exactly. Two powerful narratives are clashing, and that creates a situation where changing policy, changing the rules of engagement, it's just going to be slow, even with this level of violence.
Okay, so let's unpack the operation itself first and this transparency gap that opened up almost immediately.
Right.
Officials gave their rationale pretty quickly. They said it was a necessary action, multiple agencies involved, targeting their Red Command criminal group.
Based on long-running investigations, they claimed?
Yeah, and they pointed to seized weapons, drugs as sort of proof of success. A legitimate security operation.
That's the state's narrative, yes. But the basic facts remain. Maximum force was used, there was a massive number of fatalities, and transparency has been, well, incomplete.
And that lack of transparency isn't minor, is it?
Oh, absolutely not. It's the vacuum where all the conflict is brewing. What we don't know is crucial right now.
Like what, specifically?
Full forensic details are missing. We don't have specifics on the rules of engagement, particularly for body cams or, aerial footage.
Right.
And we still don't have fully reconciled identities for all the casualties. That information is critical.
And the pushback came fast.
Immediately, rights groups countered hard, expressing deep concern about potential unlawful killings. They're demanding public forensic details.
Specifically, body cams and autopsies.
Body cam footage, autopsy results, ballistic matches, yes. Without that verifiable evidence, this battle over the narrative just gets worse every day.
Which brings us to that narrative battle itself. It's not just police versus rights groups, is it? It's playing out very publicly.
And in public opinion, which is where it gets really complex, maybe even counterintuitive.
So on one side, you've got the state leadership sticking to their guns, calling the raid a security success against crime. No backing down there.
Not at all.
And then the other side, protesters, rights groups, calling it a massacre. Straight up.
Stark language, absolutely. And they're demanding accountability, calling for resignations, even the governors.
And that horrifying image of the bodies lined up, that's fueling this side.
Hugely. It's galvanizing organizing efforts, street protests, especially in places like Penha, neighborhoods directly affected.
Now, if you just saw the international news, the protests, you'd think, okay, change is coming, accountability is inevitable.
You would assume the political pressure is overwhelming. But then you have to look at the broader political reality. You have to look at the polling.
And this is the shocker. Sources show that nationally, public opinion actually supports the raid. A majority supports it.
Yes, and perhaps even more incredibly, sources say support is higher in Rio itself.
Higher in Rio.
With significant backing even from residents in the favelas. The very communities often caught in the middle of these operations.
Wow. Okay, that needs explaining. How is that possible? The communities suffering the consequences are providing political cover.
Well, looking at the context from our sources, it seems this isn't necessarily about ignoring human rights. It's more a reflection of deep, desperate fear about safety.
Fear of the criminal groups.
Exactly. Groups like the Red Command, they impose their own form of control through violence. For many residents, the immediate daily threat from heavily armed gangs feels more dangerous than the potential risk of state violence, however brutal.
So it's less an endorsement of police methods and more a desperate plea for any kind of security.
That's how it appears. And that desperation creates what we're calling this polling cushion.
The polling cushion.
Yeah, it blunts the calls for immediate policy changes. It reduces the pressure on leaders to rethink tactics or the rules of engagement.
So if leaders feel they have public backing for a hard line, even with this outcry,
Their incentive for quick structural reform pretty much disappears. The public demand for security right now is louder than the demand for accountability, it seems.
that makes the path forward incredibly difficult. But things are happening institutionally. It's not just one response. We're seeing what? 3 parallel tracks?
Yeah, 3 distinct lanes of response are operating simultaneously, which really shows the friction in the system.
Okay, lane 1.
That's the state defense and continuation lane. The state government is holding firm, defending the raid's legitimacy, and basically signaling more aggressive operations against the Red Command are coming,
Sticking to the security success narrative.
doubling down on it.
Lane 2.
Federal action. This is Brasilia stepping in, but focusing more broadly on organized crime.
Mm-hmm.
The federal government opened an emergency office to fight organized crime,
Okay.
and they passed a new law to tighten the legal tools against these groups.
Yeah.
So the feds are focused on hardening the overall anti-crime response, somewhat separate from this specific operations details.
And the third lane? Oversight.
Right. Oversight and external pressure. This is where attempts to apply the brakes are happening. Most importantly, the Senate is launching a CPI next week.
That's Brazil's parliamentary inquiry, right? They have real power.
They do. Subpoena power, compelling testimony. It's not just talk. This CPI will look at the whole organized crime ecosystem.
And alongside that,
Rights groups, UN voices, they keep pushing hard for those independent, evidence-based investigations we talked about. Full forensic disclosure, applying pressure from the outside.
so the state pushes ahead. The federal government ramps up anti-crime laws, and oversight bodies try to investigate. It's like a tug of war.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Political and judicial forces pulling in different directions, and that dynamic makes the immediate future pretty tense.
What should we expect then, near term?
Well, likely more friction between protesters and police, maybe some episodic confrontations.
Right.
But given that polling cushion,
Right.
the chances of immediate deep structural reform, like changing the actual rules and engagement for police, probably low.
So if the system seems resistant to change right now, what could actually shift things? What could break through?
That's the key question. And it brings us to the 3 critical indicators. These are the things you, the listener, should really watch over the next, say, week or 2.
Because these could actually force a change.
Potentially, yes. They have the power to shift the landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Indicator 1, the Senate CPI.
What's specifically about it?
Watch the witness lists. Who gets subpoenaed? Is it just operational guys? Or are senior state leaders called to testify? That tells you how serious and wide-ranging the political investigation is.
Okay. Indicator 2.
The forensic evidence. We're waiting for concrete disclosures, autopsy summaries, ballistics reports, chain of custody details. This is the hard stuff.
Evidence that could either back up the state's story or blow it apart.
Precisely. And indicator 3, the protests.
We know they're happening, but what's the key thing to watch there?
Scale, yes. But more importantly, the breadth of the coalition. Are the protests still mainly rights activists in affected communities? Or are they starting to pull in broader support, middle class, working class, joining in large numbers?
So you're saying it's not just one of these things, it needs to be a combination.
That's the analysis, yeah.
Yeah.
It likely takes a combination of really damaging forensic evidence becoming public and those protest crowds growing much broader and more diverse.
To erode that public support,
Yeah,
polling cushion.
exactly. Only then might the political pressure become strong enough to force real procedural changes. Until that happens, the state likely feels it has a mandate for security above all else.
Mm-hmm.
Reform stalls.
It just highlights the tragic complexity here, this clash between the security success story, the undeniable human cost, and this very strange split in public opinion that prioritizes security right now.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. So the final thought for you to consider is really about transparency and belief.
Okay.
The immediate future hinges a lot on those forensic findings, ballistics, autopsies. Given the high public approval for the raid now, what happens if those official findings come out and they don't satisfy the demands for full transparency?
Or worse.
Or, maybe even more challenging, what if the findings do come out and they seem to contradict the public's current belief that the operation was legitimate? How did that play out?
A real test for the system.
It's a battle for truth, fought in inquiries and maybe courts, testing just how much hard evidence it takes to shift a deeply felt public desire for safety, whatever the cost.